Hi everyone, so today I am going to be doing a video about my residential treatment and what it was like to be in residential. This is going to be kind of a touchy subject for me, so if I kind of forget things or if I kind of space out or anything, that's why. It's just been a great journey, but also there were obviously some hardships to it, so I just wanted to explain that before I go even further into the journey. So let's get started. So I actually decided to do this video kind of last minute today. I just put my makeup on and I just kind of I'm gonna remember things as I go because I didn't have any type of plan on how I wanted to address the situation, or I didn't really know when I wanted to make this video. If I did want to make this video, it's very personal and touchy, and I think that I'm mostly making it to help the others understand that residential isn't such a bad thing, and it can be really helpful and beneficial. And it sounds very, very scary, but honestly, it's not, and it helps so much, so I just want you guys to know that. So I wrote down some ideas about how I would like to start on this subject and if I wanted to or not. So I just wrote down residential story, and like I said, I'm kind of just going to go off of my memory right now because I don't really have anything planned out to say. So I just thought that I would just go from memory and see what happens. So, the admission process to get into residential is pretty long, to be honest. It takes about 3 to 4 weeks to even get into residential, and residential, they only, the one that I went to, they only take people that are willing to go to take them, and for where I am in my area, that's the best residential for you. So I had to be willing to go there in order to be taken there and to live there for a while. And if I didn't, they would take me somewhere where I'd have to be forced to be there. And it was something, it's more it's more of a hassle to go to one where you don't want to be, and they aren't the nicest facilities. If you're being forced to go there, it's usually on the scale of being kind of bad. But the one that I went to was really nice. Like I said, everyone was willing to be there, so it also caused less problems with the other people, which I'll get into later, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, so you have to be willing to go there. So for me, I was I'm not gonna give a huge background to my situation, but I wasn't doing so good. I went inpatient last year. Over the summer I was outpatient. In the beginning of the school year I was outpatient, or inpatient and outpatient, and then I got into trouble with the law, so I was in juvie, and I was thinking and talking about with my parents to go to residential before this whole juvie thing happened with the law, and we were kind of debating on if I needed to go or not. And personally, I was the person to fake my symptoms, so I would say that they were okay when they weren't, and most people do that. So that's what I was doing, and I was just kind of getting by, saying that I was okay when I wasn't. And this is really important for you to talk and speak up if you are not doing okay, because you need to get the help that you need. And I'm very thankful that I got the help when I did. So we were already talking about residential, and then the law thing happened, and the only way to get out of that, basically, was to go to residential. And of course I wasn't happy about this. I was thinking there were possibly other alternatives to go, because hearing what other people said about residential was not comforting. You're away from your family, you're away from your home, you can go away to like 1 to 7 months, you can go away for a year plus. There are different types of residentials, and I'll link the different types down below for you guys to help you out if you are making a decision. So mine was about like 2 months, and honestly, it was probably one of the best decisions that I've ever made. It really, really helped me, and I'm not just faking my symptoms anymore. I actually feel complete, I feel whole, I feel like I can go around and do things in a timely manner, which I wasn't able to before. I'm out of my bed, I'm not spending much time in my room anymore, and that's something that really, really needed to change. And that's where I was sitting with those bad thoughts, and that's where I was like avoiding people and just pretending that I was okay when I wasn't. So that's the admission process. You meet with someone, a representative from the residential. At least this is my part of it that happened to me. I'm not sure if all residentials are the same way, but I did have to meet with a person, a representative, and take a little psych test to see if I qualified to be there. And the one that I went to was a drug facility, basically, or mainly a drug facility, but I don't have any problems with that. But there was also a dual recovery, which is mental health and drug problems. So I went to that program in their whole residential, and the whole residential had about 6 different groups inside of them. So there was like a boys unit, there are more boys units than girl units, and there were 2 girl units for the whole house. So there were the cherubs, and then there were the angels. The cherubs were basically drug-based, and then the angels were dual recovery. So dual recovery, like I said, were both. So I did witness some drug use and people who have had drug use in the past, and it really didn't bother me, but I learned a lot that I did not know about drug use, and yeah, it was really interesting to learn that. But so I was in the angel side, and I'll get into what it's like day to day now. So day-to-day living in residential is, at first, it's not what you want. If you are not used to any schedule or any time-based activities, you need to get used to it really fast, because in the morning we wake up around 7, you have to make your bed, and you do a room chore. So a room chore is basically you just do something around the room, you dust, wipe the windows, or you vacuum. And then after you do your room chore, you have to do a floor chore, which is basically in the main house part. So you have to either like wipe the baseboards, or clean and vacuum, or clean the bathrooms, and so you have to do that before you get your hygiene box, which is basically where you can go take a shower after, brush your teeth, do makeup, whatever. So the layout kind of is, there's one big family room, and then there are multiple individual rooms. There are like maybe like 5 rooms that you can go into with doors, and you have 3 roommates. So there were a lot of girls at one time. There's about like 14 girls living with me. That by itself is hard. Obviously drama will happen, no matter if you're boys or girls. Some type of drama, some type of petty drama will happen, and it does happen. So make sure that you are not involved with any of that, because that is not what you're there to focus for, and you need to focus on yourself. And that's the main reason why I left, was because I needed to focus on myself and not focus on anyone else, like a boyfriend or a best friend. You just need to go there to focus on yourself. You can build relationships. It's not suggested to like have actual relationships with other people, but friendships are obviously suggested to have, as long as you don't have drama. So then you have a big bathroom, and it has little, like, 3 stalls and maybe 3 showers. So you have to use your time management, which was crucial for me to learn, because I needed to learn how to take a 5-minute shower. I know it sounds crazy. Everybody's used to like a 15-minute shower. No, here you have to take a 5-minute shower so the next person can get in. You have to learn to respect each other's privacy, to work together, and that's basically what my residential was about, is teamwork and working together and learning to work with other types of people, because obviously you need those people skills, and you need to learn different things and how to cope with different people and how to interact with other people. It's super important for you to learn, so I think that's one of the things that I got out of it, was to learn how to deal with different types of people in case I need to go and do that in the future with, like, maybe a job, a roommate, living with someone in an apartment, like that kind of thing. I had to learn. I also learned how to get over my emetophobia a bit. Emetophobia is the fear of physically getting sick, like throwing up and vomiting, and I had to get used to that, and I had to get used to hearing it and seeing it, because since we were a dual recovery, people were having withdrawal symptoms and getting sick, and then we had a whole outbreak of a cold. So living in those tight corners, you do have to see a lot of other people, and it's not the best at sometimes, and sometimes you just want to be alone, but you really can't. You can't close the door. The only time when you're alone is basically in a bathroom stall, which is kind of weird to get used to, but after a while you don't want to be alone, and that's one of the struggles that I had when I do your daily chores. You go down to eat breakfast, and then throughout the day you have different, the breakfast is in like a dining hall, like, you know, like a hotel or whatever, and then you have a different type of therapy session throughout the day. So you have maybe DBT skills in the morning, CBT skills in the afternoon, teamwork, team building, self-positive affirmations, art, and then we had school, which when school started for me, it was rough, because last year I was barely at school last year because of outpatient, and I had to go travel very far from my outpatient because there wasn't one close enough for me that I liked. So I had to travel about an hour and a half every day to get there, and then I would have to stay there for school, which is basically tutoring. So in residential, if you're living there, you have to obviously do school there, and if it's like a holiday, you get a holiday off. If you're in public school near the area of the residential has a day off, like a snow day, you guys do too. But it's basically tutoring. You don't learn math, English. You just sit there by yourself in a classroom and do like private independent work. And then you have teachers there to help you, but sometimes they aren't that helpful, and it kind of sucks. But that is what school looks like for residential. I'm trying to, the one that I went to, they allow you to have internet access, although you cannot use social media. So all the websites are blocked, and if you get seen using social media, they will immediately take it away from you and say you're done with that. You gotta do some private work, independent work somewhere else. So that's how mine worked. Yeah, you're in your classroom with all these other people, girls only, at least in mine, and they keep the boys and girls separate for everything. Basically, you're not really allowed to like look at them, interact with them. Of course things happen, but I was never involved with those things, so that's good. And if you do get involved with someone else, you get immediately kicked out, because you're there for yourself and you were willing to go for yourself, which means you need to keep up with your promises. So you go to school. This year's school was kind of rough for me because I didn't have a teacher, and I didn't have online classes at the time, and I had to hurry up and take all my finals there. I had to take the Constitution again because last year I wasn't there to learn it. It gets hectic in the school environment. If you are a procrastinator, you will fall behind. Like, no doubt, you will fall behind. You will fail all your classes. I am so sorry, but that is the truth. I worked really hard. I worked every day to try to keep on top of my stuff. They would like send work in, fax it in. That's how you would get your work. But I tried to stay on top of it so I could graduate on time, which thankfully I did. And it all worked out, but it is very stressful. And you only get maybe an hour to like 3 hours to do schoolwork straight on, like without interruptions. And then the rest of your day you're in therapy because you're there for therapy. You're not there for school. So of course school gets very stressful and parents start worrying about grades, and that whole thing happens, and it will suck, but it is the truth. So I had to do all my schoolwork by myself, learn it by myself, and do it by myself, and it was a stressful time. It will not be easy, and it just kind of adds to your frustrations, but it's good because you are in a therapeutic setting to help you. And if you do get stressed out, you have therapists, counselors, psychiatrists, psychologists, everyone around you, teachers, to help you feel better about yourself and to help you feel like you can complete things on time and you can do your tasks and worry about therapy and then worry about schoolwork separately. So there are people on with you for your team. They will help you, I promise. Something that I wanted to mention about residential is that, at least the one that I went to, you can't have phone calls to your boyfriend or girlfriend. You can't visit, they can't visit you. You can go on a TLOA, which is a temporary leave of absence, where you go with your family depending on your level of achievements to go and get out of the building for a little bit. That is something that happens that you can earn, but you definitely will have to get used to not having contact with your boyfriend or girlfriend. It will be really stressful at the beginning, and it may end up breaking apart during that process. But you need to be super strong about that and very self-reliant, because you are there for you and you don't have time to contact your boyfriend or girlfriend or friends, basically, in this process, because it's for you and you need to just focus on you, and that is the most important thing that you are there for. So if something happens with your boyfriend or girlfriend or friend, you have, like I said, people there to help you in those times of need and make it easier than if it were to go away on your own. So that's just something that I wanted to add. Okay, so next subject is, I basically told you about therapy. I told you about the living situation. You have to get along with other girls or guys. It's very strict in not having relationships. You get very close with the staff. So I'm going to talk about the staff now. So staff is very supportive, and at the end and in a little bit in the beginning to the end, you will feel like that is your home, and I promise you, you will feel like it's your home. It is very friendly, family-like atmosphere. You do activities together, you have meals together, you read together, you sleep together, everything happens together. So there's no way that you're gonna feel weird and uncomfortable. You have different staff for different days. So like maybe you have the main morning staff who will work every morning except Sunday and Saturday, and then you will have the night staff who will work maybe like only Wednesdays and Saturdays. And so you switch with the main priority of the same people, but you switch on different days. So they will come in, they will wake you up, say, good morning girls, good morning guys, time to get up. And you get up and you get ready for your day with them. You ask them for your hygiene box, which is basically your shower caddy. If you go to college, you know what I mean. They're there for you, and they are the on-site therapists. They are therapists, but also caregivers. So they will help you with, if you need help in the shower, they will help you. If you need help with your hygiene, they will help you. They are there for you. Take advantage of them. They are there for you, for your comfort, and for you to get better. So whatever you need, you can ask them. When you go to sleep, at least at mine, I loved it. They would kiss you goodnight, and they would tuck you into bed, spray lavender on your bed, and say goodnight, I love you. And you get used to that family atmosphere. And if that's something that you're missing in your life, where you don't have a family atmosphere, and you don't have someone to say I love you goodnight to, you have that for at least a little while. And it feels so, so great to have someone say that to you every night, and to know that someone cares about you and loves you. And they're just down the hall if you need them. If you have a nightmare or a flashback, they're there for you. And they will comfort you. And they will sleep at the end of your bed for you. They do everything for you. When you're throwing up and you're getting sick, they will be in the room with you. If you don't want them to leave, they won't leave. If you need someone to help you with something, they will help you. They read you goodnight stories. It's literally like having on-call nurses, or moms, that are also nurses and therapists. So you get really close with them, and honestly, it's a really big deal at the end of it, because you will miss them and you will cry at your ceremony when you graduate / get out. And it's hard to go back to life afterwards, which is something I'm going to talk about in a bit. But you get used to having that person for you, and that the care and the one-on-one. It's really, really nice, and I suggest that you totally take advantage of it. And it may seem weird at first, because they will do an intake shower and have you take drop, which is basically like the drug test, pee in a cup. You will do that every week, but you get close to them, and you end up not thinking about all the other stuff. And you think about, this person really cares about me. I needed that person to care about me. I need to feel like I'm loved. So it is something that's really, really important, and I think that my residential did the best at it. So I hope other residentials do the same thing, but at least mine was like that, and I really hope others are like that too. The going home process. So in the process of going home, you basically moved there for a couple of months, and I moved there and I brought a bunch of stuff. Like, at first I brought a little bit because I was like, oh, I don't think I'm going to be changing that often. I'm a minimalist, it doesn't matter. You end up collecting so much stuff. You end up taking all your pillows, all your blankets, your stuffed animals, your boyfriend's sweatshirts, you take pictures, you hang them on the wall, you move in. So by the time that you get out, you will have a bunch of stuff. So make sure that you're prepared for that, because you won't even know how much stuff that you collected there until you move out, and it's crazy to see. So my place, I had a bell ceremony, which is basically you stand outside, you say goodbye to everyone, words are thrown to each other. You know, it's a really nice ceremony. You graduated this wonderful program. You're moving on to a new step of your life. You are embracing everything that you learned, and I promise you, if you take it and you use it, you will change and you will come out a different person, because I definitely came out with a different mindset. New routines, different personality. I am much happier, and even though I get upset and I get sad, I have so many more tools that that inpatient, outpatient couldn't even teach me. And it's kind of weird to move back home, because it's you. Unless you have a sibling in the same room as you, you feel kind of empty, and you miss all the girls or guys that you spend time with. You miss having them with you at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snack time. You miss all the socialization. And at first, it definitely, for an introvert, is so new. It is a new environment where you have to talk 24/7. You never get a break. You never get to go in your room alone because you have a roommate and maybe they want to go too. You know, it's something to get used to going there, and then coming back home you have to get used to it also. You have to get used to having your own meal plans, making your own meal plans, eating what your mom makes. You have to get used to being alone. And being alone is really difficult for me. And before it was even more difficult. And coming out of it, it is a little bit easier. I still like to have people check up on me. And sleeping alone at night is something that I kind of struggle with. I need to know that there's a person there next to me to feel safe, but going home and knowing that there were people next to me and I was sleeping next to my best friend, it makes you feel better, and you just think about that and you fall straight asleep. Something that I love about coming home from residential is that you pick up a lot of different new techniques and ideas from other people. So I have a weighted blanket here with me, and I like to have it because I know the weight is on me when I go to sleep, so I know that I'm not alone. I don't feel alone. And Peanut's sleeping right next to me. I know that I'm not alone. It's something that you pick up. Someone told me about a weighted blanket. My mom picked it up right away. You learn different tactics and techniques from other people who have similar problems, which is something that I absolutely love about going to inpatient, outpatient, residential, is that you communicate with other people in such a different way from your average life. Another thing with moving back home is that you have to get used to hygiene, and you have to make, it's essential. You cannot just choose not to make a routine. It is essential for you to have a routine. Maybe it's wake up at 1 o'clock. So what? You still have a routine. You wake up at 1, you shower at 1:30, you do yoga, you watch TV, you do your homework. It's crucial. It's so important for you to have a routine, because it's easier to go in without a routine and to start a routine than to come out of a routine and lose it and start something by yourself. Like it's so much easier to like have people help you than to like totally fall out of your routine and don't have it at all and have to learn it and forgetting about it, and it's so much harder. Hopefully that made sense. It started to like jumble in my mind when I started to say it, but hopefully it made sense. But you have to get used to a routine. If you don't have a routine, you're gonna fall back into those places that you were before. Maybe not in the emotional places as you were before, but definitely in the daily lifestyle habits you were in before that you wanted to change, that you needed to change to make yourself healthier and happier. So that is one crucial thing that you need when you come back home. And like just getting used to doing new things, maybe it's journaling, yoga, meditation, mindfulness, practicing those DBT skills on a daily basis. Any of those things you take home with you and you remember and you apply them to your new life. Another thing that I learned from my group at residential, living at residential, was definitely the programs that you can use outside. So there are EA programs, AA programs, NA programs, CODA, Family Anonymous. You have those resources and use them. Even though you were in a program where you all took a field trip to go to these programs and you had to go with them, make sure that you are still doing so. Even though it takes effort to get up and to schedule appointments with these representatives and to schedule therapy appointments, to take your own initiative to go to CODA meetings, it is so important, and it is something that I have continued to do because it's something that I used to do for maybe about 2.5 months, so I need to continue to do it at home. Like, it's very, very important to continue to do it at home. If you have any more questions about residential, inpatient, or outpatient, please comment down below. Remember to like this video and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and there shall be more videos relating to these certain topics soon.